Fact or fiction? A petrified giant was once dug up in New York? The answer is fiction, but the Cardiff Giant shows how a hoax can become more powerful than the object itself. The story begins in 1869, when workers appeared to uncover a giant stone body near Cardiff, New York. At first glance, it looked like the remains of an enormous human figure. That was the point. The discovery was staged to feel like proof pulled straight from the ground. The Cardiff Giant was not a fossil and not an ancient person. It was carved from gypsum, treated to look old, buried, and then conveniently discovered. The hoax played on a culture already fascinated by archaeology, biblical literalism, sideshows, newspapers, and dramatic discoveries. A fake object does not become famous by existing alone. It needs a story, a setting, and a crowd willing to repeat the question. The burial was part of the trick. A carved statue sitting in a workshop is just a statue. A carved statue pulled from the earth becomes an event. People paid to see it. Some believed, some doubted, some came because they wanted to argue with the claim in person. That is a pattern we keep seeing in successful hoaxes. The hoax does not need everyone to believe. It needs everyone to look. The body itself was theatrical evidence. It was large, physical, and difficult for an ordinary visitor to test. That made it perfect for a paid exhibition. A person could stand beside it, see its scale, and feel the pull of the claim even if part of them knew something was wrong. The hoax also exploited the authority of discovery. Something dug from the earth feels different from something simply announced. The ground became part of the costume. It made the object feel older, deeper, and more serious than a carved figure on a table. The Cardiff Giant also became a business story. Ownership, exhibition rights, competition, and copies all became part of the spectacle. P.T. Barnum is often linked to the broader story because he exhibited his own version after failing to buy the original. That twist is almost too perfect. A fake giant became so profitable that even the fake had a fake. By then, the question was no longer only whether the giant was real. The public was also watching the fight over who controlled the attraction. That is how attention economies work. Once a claim becomes famous enough, the argument around it can become as valuable as the claim itself. The public argument kept the attraction alive. Experts could say it was not real, but the controversy itself became publicity. A claim can be disproven and still make money if the performance around it is compelling enough. That is why the Cardiff Giant still matters. It is not only a silly old fake. It is a reminder that people often pay for the feeling of maybe. The object promised contact with a hidden past, giants, ancient races, buried truths, and a world bigger than ordinary life. It also arrived in a time when newspapers, public lectures, traveling shows, and museum-like displays could blur education and entertainment. A viewer might not know where science ended and spectacle began. Hoaxes thrive in that blur. The Cardiff Giant did not have to persuade every expert. It had to reach ordinary people before the correction became stronger than the story. And because it was a physical attraction, correction had a strange weakness. Even if someone heard it was fake, they might still want to see the famous fake. But the evidence underneath was weak because the whole thing was manufactured. Stone, tools, staging, publicity, and human appetite did the work. That makes it a useful ancestor of modern viral misinformation. The format changed, but the emotional mechanism is familiar. A surprising image appears. A dramatic claim wraps around it. People share it, mock it, defend it, or attack it. Either way, the story travels. Modern misinformation uses different technology, but the shape is familiar. A surprising image, a dramatic claim, a rush of attention, and verification arriving too late. The Cardiff Giant reminds us that debunking is not only about facts. It is also about timing, presentation, and the desire to be close to wonder. That desire is not stupid, it is human. The danger comes when wonder is sold as evidence and curiosity is turned into a trap. So the useful lesson is not to stop being curious. It is to ask what would prove the claim, who benefits from the spectacle, and whether the frame is doing more work than the facts. Final verdict. A famous attraction. Yes. A real petrified giant. No. Fiction.